Indie games are a rarity that are ever covered on YouTube, especially those that are web-based and can be found and played by going to certain websites. Probably because the majority of them are lackluster projects that only last a good 10 minutes or so. But on itch.io, I found one that really caught my eye. Don't Roast, a web-based 2D Souls-like boss gauntlet indie made by a group of students who actually attended the same college I did, who made this little gem in the capstone game class the year before mine. Featuring 3 different ways to play from the 3 weapons made available, a cheesy but enjoyable save-the-world plotline, a camping setting and style that kind of reminds me of Adventure Time, and 5 unique and extremely well-made boss fights for you to take on. And given the last one, I decided to do a ranking on the quality of these bosses because they really piqued my interest, and I feel that this game and its developers deserve more publicity. So kick back, relax, make us more, and enjoy. Number 5, the Burning Man. Probably the most unique encounter out of the 5 given that it's both a chase and a bullet hell. The first descriptor makes more sense given that you're fighting a crazed campfire whose sole desire is to burn everything around him, including little marshmallows. He had some interesting mechanics like the fact that he's constantly self-healing by incinerating everything and feeding his flames. You can think of him in either 2 ways in my opinion. Either you're someone who chooses to fight him from a distance with graham cracker shurikens, and he's a major breeze, or you're someone like me who enjoys the Souls-like experience of Melee and it feels more rewarding to be up close and personal, and he's one of the most painful slogs to get through given that you'll take damage more often than not, and you can barely outpace his self-healing with your puny little baseball bat, hence why he's at the bottom of the list for me. Number 4, the Scout. The final boss of this charming little title goes really hard for what it is with his epic but foreboding atmosphere, design, and music. Only one thing about it, he's completely unbalanced. He has only 3 different attacks in his first phase, 2 of which are extremely punishable and allow you to eviscerate him in a matter of seconds, and the second involves his sister Sally, whom we'll get to much later on, working with him throwing in her attacks which will most likely catch you every other time. You basically have to make sure you're as offensive as possible to make it through this one in the end, but when you do beat them, it is ever so satisfying. Number 3, Strawberry Maniac. From the last to the first boss of the game, and to be honest, it's actually not a bad start. You can fight him in any way you want, but I think you'll get the most out of this encounter fighting him up close like most every other boss in this game. He has a fair amount of basic bullet hell style attacks ranging from Ruby Rain and Spikes to Shockwaves, each one allowing a fair opening but enough to punish you if you're greedy. He also has a self-heal like Mr. Burns whom we started out with, but it feels a lot more balanced given that you can easily outpace it and nullify it with enough aggression. He also has a pretty unique and cool mutation into a second phase, which offers more extreme versions of his attacks from his first. He also loses his self-heal, but replaces it with an annoying Vine Whip to keep you off him, but it's really nothing to cry home about. Number 2, Lost Mallow. The first boss fight that definitely brought me back to my comfort zone with how much it feels like a Dark Souls boss. He has a good variety of attacks that definitely make you feel like you're fighting a creation of Miyazaki's, from hard-hitting, fast, and mobile melee, to versatile areas of effect that can catch you off guard if you're not careful. Each of them can be dealt with by using every tool at your fingertips, and can punish you if you're too greedy, allowing you to learn a lot from this experience as you should. My only complaints are his little spike traps that felt like they gave you a little bit too much to handle, and his lack of a second phase, as well as him getting locked in a cycle of certain attacks sometimes. I really feel like they could have gotten a little bit more creative with this one and maybe showed that this guy is the first stage to what happened to that little zombie Mallow whom I decided to exclude because he's just a tutorial piece. Number 1, Sally. Probably the creepiest little girl I've seen in a game since Evelyn from Resident Evil 7, and she definitely defines the creepy little girl trope in horror games to a T. She takes everything done right about the bosses of this game and turns it all up to 11 with her extremely fast attacks and how much she makes you put everything that you can do in this game to use. My only complaint is that melee punch she has that happens way too fast and unexpectedly, and how much it can catch you if you choose the more rewarding melee route. And then it just gets even better with her second phase as she transforms into a ghoul with an all-new moveset that really keeps you on your toes, and probably explains how and why she corrupted most of your friends in this game. And her sound design is probably the best it's ever been, with her demonic laugh and cry when you beat her. Well guys, that's it for this one. Pretty quick and easy given what it was. So what did y'all think? Does this game and its boss fights pique your interest? In my own personal opinion, I hope so. From the way I see it, this is a web indie worth being played by everyone. I'm curious, which of these entries did you guys like most? Well, I hope y'all enjoyed and I shall see you in the next one. Peace!